like the jaguars and mountain lions who hunted the deer in the peccaries. Death hunted the Tzolk'in, taking people every week through sickness, drowning, farming accidents, snake bites, landslides, and so on. But recently a new kind of predatory being had come among us, stalking and attacking, though mysteriously not trying to kill us or steal our hard-earned goods. The people of the canyon village were being subjected to raids on their souls, raids by marauding bands of white missionaries who prowled around our village armed with poor Spanish and clumsier Mayan. These missionaries exploited the courteous inclusiveness and general respect the village had for anything sacred to get themselves invited into the matrix of a household. Once there, they began to lay eggs of self-doubt and shame by diminishing our ways and gods, trivializing what to us was big and important. The missionaries tried to demoralize the villagers in hopes of scaring or coaxing them into the sticky, addictive web of simplistic, polarized, Eurocentric thinking, characteristic of certain missions from the outside, mostly the U.S. These invaders called themselves Christians. Like shoe salesmen trying to sell shoes to people who traditionally go barefoot. In order to sell their god, they had to create a need for it. This was not an easy job, considering how the Tzolk'in had married their old goddesses to the 16th century saints, and the love they had for the beautiful year-long cycle of sacred rituals already in place for centuries. Now known as the divine Mayan Tzolk'in calendar. The missionaries' religion looked so dry and unappealing that most people felt sorry for them. As a matter of fact, we used to invite them out of pity to our, quote, pagan, unquote, feasts, to bless them and feed them. This, of course, was before they began threatening us with their hell. Wherever these missionaries came from was already culturally bankrupt, so they needed to tap into the Indians' centuries-old spiritual exuberance in order to revitalize their dried-up imaginations and boring religion. In their narrow-mindedness, they branded all shamans as arch-enemies of their god. Having mistaken us for some opposing organized religion, they were sure we were barring their way to successfully missionize the village. The people were taught that they must denounce us shamans and get rid of us in order to get to heaven, or they would all burn in their version of hell with us village officials. This worried the women in particular, who, like a flock of water birds, chattered nervously about it when they gathered to wash their clothes at the lake's edge. The shamans, however, were more like quiet old trees and shy ocelots and jaguars who sat watching from afar as the missionaries made themselves frantic by the same fear they peddled, running in senseless circles out of their element like nervous machine-dependent mice, insisting we be like them and exchange our rich heritage and real beauty for the superficial values, simple-mindedness, and panic of their grumpy God. To become friends with them meant that we had to stop loving the sun as our father, that we could no longer weep into the lake as our mother, no longer greet the fire as our grandfather, and force ourselves to forget to take our hats off to the rising moon, the grandmother of all life and things. The female had no place in their religion.